Hello, I'm Alex Fergus from alexfergus.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make my bone broth. Bone broth is really simple to make. Literally, you just need bones and water. I know there's a lot of fancy recipes out there. Um, Onions, vegetables, apple cider vinegar soaks, and all that jazz. Yep, you can do that, but personally, I just take the lazy man's method and just use bones, water, and a little bit of salt. So, uh, another thing, a handy thing to have is a slow cooker or a pressure cooker. This is the New Wave 5-in-1 or 6-in-1, I think it is. And I've got the stainless steel bowl instead of the non-stick bowl. Non-stick bowl, I'm a little bit paranoid about the non-stick technology and hormone disruption, but it's a whole other topic. So, got my slow cooker here and I've got my bones here. So what I have is free range beef bones for stock. They were $2.50 a kilo from About Life here in Sydney. If you don't live in Sydney, just go to your butcher, just ask for marrow bones, neck bones, thigh bones, any bones with a bit of meat on them. But you also want a bit of tendons, cartilage, all that sort of stuff as well. All that helps with the end product. And don't be afraid if there's a little bit of meat on them. The meat will come off, as we'll find out later on. And it's actually really good for you and really tasty. So, most bones you shouldn't really be paying much. A couple of dollars. Like I said, this was about $2.50. Cost me $2.25, 900 grams. So this will be enough to last me like a couple of weeks. I'll freeze some of it and leave some in the fridge as well. So get about a kilo of bones. Ideally grass-fed, pasture-fed beef. You could also use chicken bones. You can put a whole chicken carcass in there. Again, I'd go free range. You can also do fish broth. So you'd get like snappy heads and put a couple of them in. I'd take out the gills, but you can leave them in as well. Right. Get some bones. If you can, get the butcher to like slice them in half, so it exposes some of the marrow. Pretty much, I've got some spring water here. If you can't get spring water, use RO water, otherwise tap water, but I try to avoid tap water when possible. I've got 10 cups of water in there, so about 2.5 litres of water for my kilo of bones. So these are straight out of the freezer. So you can see they're quite meaty bones, if I can get them out here. Quite meaty bones, like they've been sawed in half, so this is going to make some pretty good broth. And there's a lot of fat on there as well, which is great, which is where all the fat soluble nutrients are all stored in. So I'm going to just plop that in the water there, like so. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Okay, so I've got Himalayan pink rock salt here. I don't really measure anything out. I suppose I should, but just a little bit of salt for flavor. And you could add some apple cider vinegar. So I know a lot of people swear by doing a vinegar soak to help draw out the nutrients. I know Mark Sisson did an article on this and he sort of questioned if it was that effective and you use a lot of vinegar and it ruins the flavour. So personally, I don't even bother with it anymore. So I just go water, bones, some salt, and that's it. I have the water covering the bones, so just mash them up to make sure they're all sitting there. And then it goes into the slow cooker. If you don't have a slow cooker, you could just do it on a pot. You just get a really big pot and put it on the element, and leave that going on low heat. It's important to remember that to make a quality broth, you need to have it on heat for anything from 18 to 40 hours. That's the difference between a broth and a stock. A stock's more 1 to 4 hours. A broth is more overnight, long term sort of stuff. So I've got two options now with the slow cooker. It's also a pressure cooker as well. So I could set it on slow cooker and leave it for 24 hours or longer, or I could simply put it on pressure cooker. So I know some people are a little bit paranoid about pressure cookers. These days they're very safe. They've got a lot of safety mechanisms, but also people think that or believe that a lot of the nutrients are destroyed when using the pressure cooker function. So turns out there's some studies that dispel this myth. So I'll put some links to some articles on that if you want to look into that a bit more. But if I use pressure cooker, I'll set it on pressure. The maximum time is 99 minutes, so just over an hour and a half. So what I actually do is I go pressure cooker for 90 minutes and then leave it on slow cooker for, I don't know, maybe 4 to 12 hours, depending on time of the day when I put it on. It'll take about an hour or so for the pressure to come down. So once that equalizes, then I'll set it on slow cooker and yeah, put it on 12 hours for that. If you don't want to use the pressure function, again, just go straight into slow cooker and set it for as long as you want. The longer the better. If you're using elements, then I'd put on the lowest setting possible, and yeah, I'll leave it overnight. It's important not to boil the bones. You don't want to boil the bones. You don't want to simmer them. You just want on the lowest heat. If you are using the element, you can crank it up and get it up to a boil and let some of the scum will rise to the top. You can scoop all that off and get rid of that and then cut it back. You could do the same with the slow cooker as well, set it on a brown function, but again, I'm really lazy, so I just put it straight in, put the lid on, pressure cooker, hour and a half. Once that's finished, switch it over to slow cooker, couple hours overnight, depending on time of the day, and then yeah, that's it. So look, that's a really basic way to do bone broth. You could look at doing apple cider vinegar. You could put a bunch of vegetables in there, you know, onions, carrots, some garlic if you wanted to, you know, herbs like thyme and stuff go great as well. But personally, I don't really care for that because I'll use the broth to do other things like make curries or just have it straight as a tea. So sometimes I don't really want that extra flavor at the start because I'll add that later on, but that's just me. Anyway, I'll see you soon, and I'm going to get this started, and yeah, we'll come back tomorrow and see how it's going. Hey guys, so it's been 12 hours, 14 hours now since I put the broth on. So again, I put it on for an hour and a half on the pressure cooker, and then it's just been on the slow cooker function for, yeah, I think it was about 10, 11 hours, just overnight. So now I'm just going to show you what I do, how I strain all the meat off and marrow and all that sort of stuff, and then yeah, go from there. So just grab the bowl out, be careful, it's probably hot, and then I actually use a sieve and filter it as I strain it into a big bowl here. So look, there's many ways you could do this. I mean, you could leave it in there and just drink it straight from the slow cooker if you wanted to, as long as it's on heat, it'll be fine. But otherwise, this is what I do. So just gently pour it into the bowl here. Okay, so you can see in there all the bones and the marrow and tendons, cartilage, everything, it's all through here. So a lot of people just simply throw that away, but that's the best bit if you ask me. Yeah, I mean, it's really good. If you don't want to eat it straight as is, which is quite amazing, just put it in another bowl and then throw it into a curry or a slow cooker or some mince, and you wouldn't even know it's there. But it tastes amazing, like it's been cooked overnight. So as you can see here, I've got the broth sitting in here, and you'll see, you can kind of see a bit of a layer of fat there. A lot of people scoop that off and throw it out, but that's where all the best nutrients are. Like all the fat soluble nutrients, your vitamin K and stuff like that, are all tied up in that fat. So I mean, and there's nothing wrong with the saturated fat in there as well, but I'll save that for another day. So yeah, that's what I'll do, and then I will, once this cools down, because the bones are quite hot at the moment, you can see all the there's actually a little bit of broth still left in there, but I'll go through this once it cools down, and I'll simply get these bones, which are useless to me now, and I'll throw them out. But then you see, like, this meat, it's really good, really good. I'll get out, yeah, so you got like marrow and stuff here, all that stuff, you can eat it, add some salt, put it in a soup, do whatever you want, but don't throw it out. Honestly, don't throw it out. At least like give it to your dogs or something if you're not going to eat it yourself. But that's what I do, and then so I'll be left over with a couple bowls. So with that remaining broth, I'll pour it into this little bowl. Be careful, like you can, I mean look, all this stuff in here, you could eat all that, but occasionally you'll get little shards of bone. So just be careful. That's why I use the sieve. But yeah, I know some people that even eat the bones. Like you mush it up and it's fine. It's good for you. And yeah, so with this, I will either leave it in the fridge or I'll put it into I'll get out some jars and I'll pour some into jars and I'll just freeze it. But this, for instance, will last me, I don't know, a good week or two. So I'll probably split it up and then just leave some in the freezer, some in the fridge. And again, when it cools, you'll see that layer of fat on there. That's perfectly fine. I'll do a video or a photo showing the cooled stuff, in a few hours time. But yeah, that's it. So again, you just throw out the bones, pick all the bones out, keep all this meat. It's really hot. Keep all that meat though. Eat it, put it in food, do whatever you want. And then obviously you got the broth. And you don't need much broth to benefit. I say to my clients, a cup a day, especially if you're looking after the gut. You can drink it as is. So I could drink this straight away. It's a bit hot, but you can drink it as is. Probably needs a little bit of salt. Otherwise, just add it to foods. Have it as, do whatever you want with it. But yeah, that's what I do. So I'll come back to you and we'll show you how it looks tomorrow. And it's me again. So the bones are cooled off a little bit, so I'm just working through, picking off all the meat. So yeah, again, you'll get all sorts of meat. You'll get, it doesn't look that pretty, but it's really good for you. You got some marrow in there, connective tissue, all the building blocks of the body. So there's plenty of meat. So there's lots to do with it. So here you'll just see, that's hot. You'll see a bone. That's just wasted away. I know some people kind of crunch this up and eat it, but it's not the nicest texture. You can give it to your dogs or something though. It'd be pretty good for you. So yeah, that's all I'm doing. You'll see some really slimy sort of stuff. You want that. All the tendons and everything. You want all that stuff, right? We're not getting that from our diet. So the whole idea is sort yourself, sort through all this meat and maybe most of it, because no one else is eating it. All right, guys. Hey guys, so it's me again. It's been 24 hours since I put the broth in the fridge and the freezer yesterday. You can see the frozen stuff here. So I usually do that, split it up, because the stuff I made yesterday was probably enough to last me about 2 weeks. So I don't really want that sitting in the fridge all the time, but it freezes perfectly fine. And this is the stuff in the fridge. So I want to show you exactly how good this broth is. So you can see when I tap it, it's solid, it's really solid. So that's all the gelatin in it. So you often buy some of these broths from shops and stuff, and they're in the bags, and if you put them in the fridge they might thicken up a little bit, but they're so watered down. You pay $12-13 for some of those. So those bones cost me $4, and I made, as you saw yesterday, or a few moments ago, I made a couple liters worth. So yeah, so again, I'll scoop this out so you can see exactly how thick it is. It's literally like jelly, right? So I'll just put it in here. If you do it properly, you could even trick someone into thinking it was jelly. So I actually left a little bit of the meat in here, but if you can see that, and then see how thick that is, and you can see the fat on the top as well. So like I said previously, I keep that fat. Some people scoop it off, and then I actually put hunks of meat in there. So that's what a good broth should look like. See how thick that is? So I'm actually going to make up some beef stroganoff. So I'll use some of this broth tonight. Otherwise, what else would you do with that? Whenever I cook vegetables or whatever, I actually just put some broth in there. You could even have it as a soup or as a tea, as a beverage. Yeah, so that's my bone broth. If you got questions, if you got comments, place them below. If you like this, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Yeah, feel free to leave a message below. Any questions, I will happily answer them. Otherwise, yeah, you can see me over at alexfergus.com. Thanks, guys.